Of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 2 Battle Tendency. He's the leader of the Pillarmen, a race of ancient beings who lived underground because sunlight could kill them. Kars is around 102,000 years old, which already makes him one of the oldest characters in anime. Kars is the one who created the stone masks. Those are the same masks that turn humans into vampires. So technically, Kars is the reason Dio Brando became a vampire in Part 1. Without Kars, the entire JoJo storyline might not have happened. That's a pretty big deal. But Kars wasn't satisfied with just creating vampires. He wanted to
conquer the sun with the AJ mask. He put the stone on the ultimate life form.
To evolve beyond his own race's limits. His goal was to become immune to sunlight so he could walk freely in the day. When the other Pillar Men found out about his experiments, they tried to stop him. Kars responded by killing every single one of them, his own parents included. He wiped out his entire species just so he could keep working on his dream. Fast forward thousands of years, and Kars finally gets what he needs, the red stone of Aja. He combines it with a modified version of his stone mask, puts it on, and transforms. The result is called the ultimate life form. Kars can now change his body at the genetic level. He literally turns his hand into a flesh-eating squirrel during
He saved the dog. Kill human, just save the dog. Now he did this to kill, basically kill the mother world.
his fight with Joseph. He can become any creature he wants. He also gains the ability to use Hamon, which is normally a human technique, but his version is roughly 100 times stronger than Joseph's. It's powerful enough to melt human flesh on contact, and most importantly, sunlight no longer hurts him. He beat his race's only weakness. At this point, Kars is basically unkillable. No disease, no aging, no environmental damage. He's achieved perfect immortality. Joseph Joestar doesn't beat Kars through strength. He gets lucky. During their fight near a volcano, Joseph uses the red stone of Aja to redirect Kars' own amplified Hamon attack. This triggers a massive volcanic eruption. The blast is so powerful that it launches Kars out of the atmosphere on a chunk of rock. Kars is now floating in space. He tries to get back to Earth by pushing air out of his body like a jet, but space is close to absolute zero in temperature. The air freezes the instant it leaves him. His body starts to freeze too. Eventually, Kars becomes something that's described as half mineral and half organic. Basically, he turns into a frozen statue, but he doesn't die. He can't die. He's still conscious, drifting through the void of space with no way to move or return. Ajin are humans who can't die. They look completely normal.
Yeah, those things.
Act completely normal, and have no idea they're different from anyone else until they die for the first time. The moment an Ajin dies, their body resets. They regenerate fully in just a few seconds and come back like nothing happened. At the start of the series, only 46 confirmed Ajin exist in the entire world. They're incredibly rare, and that rarity makes them valuable in the worst possible way. The way their immortality works is pretty specific. When an Ajin dies, their body regenerates around the largest remaining piece. So if you cut one in half, the bigger half grows back. Here's where it gets disturbing. Even a severed hand that's been deep fried can regenerate into a complete person. The regeneration only triggers on death though. If an Ajin gets injured but doesn't die, they have to stay hurt. The only way to heal is to die first. That's already a rough deal, but it gets worse. Ajin also have the ability to summon things called IBM, which stands for invisible black matter. Most people call them black ghosts. These are combat entities that only other Ajin can see. Regular humans can't perceive them at all, which makes them dangerous in a fight. Governments around the world claim they want to protect Ajin. In reality, they capture them and use them as test subjects. Because Ajin can't die permanently, they're seen as unlimited resources for experimentation. We're talking live weapons testing, organ harvesting, and repeated killings just to study how their regeneration works. The show directly compares these experiments to Unit 731, which was Japan's real-life biological warfare unit during World War II. That's not a light comparison. The captured Ajin are treated like objects. They're wrapped up like mummies, strapped down to tables, and have their vocal cords cut so they can't scream. But here's the thing. Immortality doesn't remove pain. They feel every single death, every bullet, every cut, every experiment, and then they regenerate and it starts all over again. There's no limit to how many times this can happen. The main character, Kei Nagai, goes through this firsthand. After he's discovered to be an Ajin, he gets captured and tortured extensively before someone breaks him out. But he's not even the worst case. There's another Ajin named Sato who was experimented on for years before he managed to escape. By the time he got out, something in him had completely broken. Sato becomes a terrorist who treats killing like it's a video game. He's cheerful about it, like it's all just fun to him. The experiments didn't just hurt him physically, they destroyed who he was as a person. Ban is one of the 7 deadly sins, and his story with immortality hurt him physically, they destroyed who he was as a person. Ban is one of the 7
It's true. Like the worst fate. Where's the worst fate?
just fun to him. The experiments didn't just hurt him physically.
It was the worst fate. This kid. No.
They destroyed who he was as a person. Ban is one of the 7 deadly sins, and his story with immortality is one of the most brutal in anime. Ban traveled to the Fairy King's forest because he wanted to drink from the Fountain of Youth. When he got there, he met Elaine, the fairy who guarded it. Instead of fighting her for it, he ended up spending 7 days just talking with her. They fell in love during that time. Then a demon attacked the forest and fatally wounded both of them. Elaine was dying and so was Ban. In her final moments, she gave Ban the fountain's water. It saved his life and made him immortal, but she died. And because Ban was the only one left alive in the destroyed forest, everyone blamed him for killing her and burning it down. He got the gift of eternal life and lost the person he loved at the exact same moment. Ban's immortality is the real deal. He can't die from anything. You can burn him to ashes, tear him apart completely, it doesn't matter. He regenerates every time. He's physically frozen at age 23, even though he's over 43 years old chronologically. He doesn't need food, water, or sleep to survive. His blood even has healing properties similar to the Fountain of Youth itself. On paper, this sounds amazing. In practice, it led him to one of the worst experiences any anime character has ever gone through. Ban volunteered to enter Purgatory. This is the realm between the living world and the demon realm, and it's basically designed to kill anything that enters it. The air there is scorching hot and freezing cold at the same time. The ground itself is toxic. Reality doesn't work the way it should, but the worst part is the time dilation. 1 minute in the real world equals 1 full year in purgatory. To put that in perspective, Merlin's father once entered purgatory for just 1 minute of real-world time. When he came back, he was a broken, haggard man. 1 minute destroyed him. Ban spent over 1,000 years in there. For his first 100 years in purgatory, Ban couldn't adapt at all.
Really? Oh. Wait, what? So he missed 1,000 minutes.
Ban spent over 1,000 years in there.
1,000 minutes. So,
for his first 100 years in purgatory, Ban couldn't adapt at all. He just died over and over again in agony, resurrecting each time. It took him around 200 years before his body adjusted enough that he could even sleep. At certain points, he completely lost his mind. He transformed into a fox-like monster and forgot who he was entirely. He forgot his own identity, his memories, everything that made him Ban. While he was in there, he fought the Demon King more than 6,000 times. 6,093 times to be exact. He lost every single fight, but he kept going because his goal was to rescue Meliodas' trapped emotions, and he refused to give up. By the end of his time in purgatory, Ban had adapted so completely that the environment that tortured him for centuries started to feel like a gentle breeze. The place that was supposed to be unbearable became normal to him. That's how long he was there. That's how much he endured. He succeeded in the end. He rescued Meliodas and made it out. After everything, Ban became the strongest member of the 7 deadly sins. Hidan is one of the most annoying villains in Naruto. He's loud, he's arrogant, and he genuinely believes he's untouchable. The worst part is that for most of the series, he's right. Hidan is immortal, and not in a regenerating way like some other characters. He simply cannot die from injuries. You can stab him, burn him, blow him apart, cut his head off, none of it kills him. him. He just keeps talking. His immortality comes from his religion. Hidan worships a god called Jashin, who demands constant killing and destruction. To gain immortality, Hidan performed a special ritual that involved mass human sacrifice. He's the only confirmed follower of Jashin who actually achieved immortality through this method. Whether the god is real or it's just some dark jutsu isn't fully explained, but the results are real. Hidan cannot be killed by conventional means. His fighting style is built around this immortality. Hidan uses a curse technique that makes him a living voodoo doll. First, he has to ingest some of his opponent's blood. Then he draws the Jashin symbol on the ground and stands inside it. His skin turns black with white skeletal markings, and from that point on, any injury he inflicts on himself happens to his victim too. He used this exact method to kill Asuma Sarutobi. He activated his curse technique with the blade, and Asuma died from the wound instead. He then walked away fine because he can't die from something like that. This is where Shikamaru comes in. Asuma was his teacher, and watching him die broke something in Shikamaru. He didn't just want revenge, he wanted Hidan to suffer in a way that matched his immortality, so he came up with a plan. Shikamaru tricked Hidan during their rematch. He manipulated the fight so that Hidan accidentally ingested Kakuzu's blood instead of Shikamaru's. When Hidan performed his ritual, he damaged Kakuzu instead of his actual target. While Hidan was confused, Shikamaru bound him with his shadow jutsu and dragged him over a pit that the Nara clan had prepared. The pit was surrounded by paper bombs. Shikamaru gave a short speech, then detonated everything. The explosion blew Hidan's body into pieces, but that still didn't kill him. His severed head was still conscious, still screaming threats. His last words were that he'd kill Shikamaru using just his teeth. Shikamaru didn't respond. He just let the debris collapse and buried Hidan underground in the Nara clan's forest. The Nara family controls that land, so no one would ever dig there. Hidan is still alive down there. His body is in pieces, scattered and buried under rubble. He can't regenerate unless his body parts physically reconnect, which they can't because they're separated underground. According to the Naruto Hidan novels, the only way Hidan can actually die is through starvation. His immortality protects him from injuries, but not from wasting away. So right now, somewhere in that forest, Hidan is slowly starving to death in the dark, unable to move, unable to do anything except exist. Rin Asogi has been alive for over 1,000 years, and in that time, she's experienced more pain than most anime characters combined. Rin became immortal by accident. Over 1,000 years ago, she was just a traveler in Japan who got killed by bandits. As she was dying, a time fruit from the world tree Yggdrasil entered her body. That fruit made her immortal. She can't age, and she can't die permanently. But here's the catch with time fruits. They only make women immortal. When men absorb them, they transform into creatures called angels. These angels are crazed, winged beings with a short lifespan, and they're driven by an instinct to hunt and devour immortal women. So Rin's immortality came with a built-in predator that would chase her forever. Her regeneration is extreme. Rin can come back from absolutely anything as long as her time fruit stays intact inside her body. The most famous example is when she got sucked through a jet engine. Her body was completely destroyed. It took her around 25 years to fully regenerate from that, but she came back. If someone removes the time fruit from her body, she dies for real. But as long as that fruit is still there, she will eventually revive no matter what happens to her. The main villain of the series is a being named Apos, and he has a specific obsession with Rin. He doesn't just want to kill her, he wants to make her suffer as much as possible because he knows her pain never truly ends. Over the course of the series, which spans more than 65 years of her being hunted, Apos sends assassins after her repeatedly. When Rin kills them, he resurrects them and sends them again. It's an endless cycle designed to wear her down. The torture Rin goes through is shown in graphic detail throughout the anime. She's been shot, stabbed, cut apart, burned alive, blown up, pierced with needles, dissolved in acid, and more. Apos specifically enjoys torturing immortals because they can experience pain infinitely. There's no release for them. Rin has been captured and tortured for information multiple times across different decades, and every time she comes back, the cycle starts over. Apos has a bigger goal beyond just sadism. He wants to sacrifice Rin to Yggdrasil so he can become a permanent godlike guardian of the tree. That's why he keeps her alive and suffering instead of just destroying her time fruit. She's useful to him, which means her torment has to continue. Diavolo was the boss of Passione, the most powerful
Sex Pistol. Narachia. That's Aerosmith. Gujarati. Man, Gujarati was 20. That's what do you call it? Sticky finger. Okay, he's saying it like this is real. But yo, that's I know I forgot his stand. I forgot. Basically, his stand basically can replay anything. I don't know the name. Archer, Aerosmith, Mr. Sex Pistol. Hugo, Purple Haze, Kierno. Oh, PER. Golden Experience.
Mafia organization in Italy. He was so paranoid about his identity that literally no one had ever seen his face.
And anyone who thought it's done.
He ran the entire organization from the shadows, killing anyone who got even close to discovering who he was. His real name, his appearance, his location, all of it was completely hidden. The irony of his fate is that the man who feared being found and killed ended up being killed more times than anyone in anime history. Is that the
I forgot his name. Yeah, Dopios. Is it the one arm of King Crimson? They go Jojo's feet.
man who feared being found and killed ended up being killed more times than anyone in anime history. Diavolo's body was shared with another personality named Vinegar Doppio. They
Doppio.
weren't two people pretending to be one.
Basically, that was basically his brother. Mentally.
They genuinely shared the same body with completely different personalities. Doppio thought of Diavolo
what do you call it?
as a separate person who called him on the phone. It's strange, but that's how their split personality worked. Diavolo's stand was King Crimson, which had two abilities. Epitaph let him see 10 seconds into the future. King Crimson itself could erase time, skipping forward while everyone else lost awareness of what happened during those erased seconds. It made him nearly unbeatable in combat. Then he fought Giorno Giovanna and everything changed. During their final battle, the stand arrow pierced.
This is not a goal. It's too. It would have been better. He was not worthy enough. But fucking Giorno was worthy. Listen, he got that. His mom basically got that fucking deal built. Like she got that deal dick, and somehow she's like.
Giorno's Gold Experience and evolved it into Gold Experience Requiem. GER has one of the most overpowered abilities
Return to zero, bro.
in all of JoJo. It returns anything to zero. Actions, willpower, even cause and effect. GER can nullify all of it. When Diavolo tried to use King Crimson's time erasure, GER simply negated it. The ability didn't work. Diavolo had never experienced his power, just failing before. GER then destroyed King Crimson completely and sent Diavolo flying into a river. But GER wasn't done. Its ability set Diavolo's death to zero, meaning he can never actually reach the point of dying. He experiences death, then
close to dying. Location to die. Happy birthday, bro. Hope you nice birthday.
and gets returned to a moment before that death, only to die again in a completely different way. This loop continues forever. It's not resurrection. It's being trapped in an endless cycle of dying without ever finishing. The anime shows several of his deaths. First, he crawls out of the river only to be stabbed by a homeless drug addict hiding under a bridge. Then he wakes up on a morgue table
Up his body and stuff.
where doctors are performing an autopsy on him while he's still conscious. They cut into him and he can't do anything to stop it. Another death shows him getting hit by a car The final scene we see is Diavolo stumbling through an alley, and a little girl walks toward him. She's completely harmless, just a normal child. But Diavolo is terrified. He screams at her to stay away, backing up against a wall in panic because he knows somehow she's connected to his next death. To stay away, backing up against a wall in panic because he knows somehow she's connected to his next death.
No, I think her father probably comes out and think he's the predator and shoots him.
The scene ends there, but we understand the loop keeps going.
He's oh my days, bro. Looking after you, but I always knew. I'm happy too. Staring at my show. Yeah, something about me feels so. Look at you, and you went down, and you went down. Every time I listen to this song, I just feel like crying. I can't even lie to you.